welcome to Sports Opinion, the weekly sports talk show on Channel 18. That's Public Access TV. My name's Dirk Keller. This is Bob Boyd. That's Bud Supple. And this is Earl Murphy, who just turned 88 years old on Sunday. Happy birthday, Earl.
Okay.
Congratulations.
You clap.
88 years old.
Double 8, Earl. Jeez.
Yeah, congratulations. And he's been doing this show for 23 plus years. So when you see Earl on the street and you see him at the iClub breakfast, you tell him happy birthday. Belated or not, it's never too late to say happy birthday. So,
Thank you.
it's another birthday today, which is why we're wearing green. I think by now a lot of you know that Brett Greenwood, former Hawkeye, who just graduated this year from the University of Iowa and just got cut by the Pittsburgh Steelers on the final day of cuts for the NFL last Friday, had some kind of heart ailment. Heart stoppage, maybe is a better way to put it. They haven't disclosed what it was. I don't know if they know what it was yet. But he's been in a coma since Friday when he was working out at his alma mater, Pleasant Valley High School, just before the sophomore football game started up Friday afternoon. The good news is that right there on campus were paramedics and nurses ready and waiting for the football game to start. They had to jumpstart his heart with one of those defibrillators.
Yeah.
And they got him to get a pulse back. The bad news is he's been in a coma ever since. He's in critical condition. There's really not a lot of news right now. He's under sedation. The last I saw anything new last night, was that they hoped he would come out of it, maybe even today, his 24th birthday. Wow. And so there's a groundswell of support. You may have seen it in the paper today. They've asked everybody to wear green today on Brett Greenwood's 24th birthday. And should his family or anyone else close to him see this show, we want you to know that we're all thinking about Brett. It's been on our minds, weighing heavy ever since Friday night when we heard about it. And
he gave us a lot of Phil's playing for Iowa.
Didn't he, though?
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
Every game he did something. So
this
3
is
years started.
Yeah.
Now, I got a haircut this morning.
Looks good.
And Bernie,
It does.
I didn't mean to tell you that, but Bernie Wyatt got his haircut today, and another coach, and they said that he's doing better and could come out of this coma thing.
Right. It was an induced coma.
Yeah, that's what it is.
Right.
Okay, I couldn't think what they were saying. But
they had to bring his body temperature down. The main problem right now is there's brain swelling, pretty severe brain swelling. And so they're bringing him out of the coma.
Well, he's lucky to be in University Hospital.
He sure is.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
They flew him here Friday night. And I don't know him. I don't know if any of you have ever met him. But everyone I've talked to ran into one of the equipment managers last night at my daughter's birthday gathering. And, this is just a wonderful kid. He was a walk-on at Iowa. He had offers for other schools, but he was born and raised a Hawk. And that meant a lot to him to walk on. He earned his scholarship eventually. But this kid started 3 straight years. I forget how many games he started in a row.
It was like 37 or 39,
right?
I think, yeah.
Always trust Bob when it comes to numbers. He remembers everything.
Well, and he stayed, those 3 years that he started, he was pretty much injury-free.
Yeah, his senior year, I think, didn't he miss something last year?
Yeah, he reached an area where he's out of the game, in the game, out of the game, in the game.
Yeah.
He was getting bunged up a little bit.
I guess they're never injury-free. It's just how bad is the injury? Can you play or not, But he was pretty resilient. But as you alluded to, Dirk, he was very lucky he had that attack when and where he did.
That's right.
Yeah, and at the school.
Or he may not have survived.
Jerry Palmer was filming out at Regina last Friday night. And after the game, I was talking to him, and he gets this call. And he screamed, and when he got away from me, went back over there, and then he come back, and he was just getting the word. It must have been going around the Iowa.
Yeah. It went around fast Friday night.
Sure did.
I saw Jerry Sunday at my son's 5th and 6th grade game at Regina, and Jerry was more positive, and but it's not at the same time. He's got a a big uphill battle.
Oh, yeah,
Oh,
he's got
my.
swollen on
The rehab.
Just to
Rehab,
think, less than a week ago, he was on the Pittsburgh Steelers roster, and there was a real good possibility that he would have gotten picked up over the weekend by somebody, which is why he was working out and staying in shape at Pleasant Valley. And here we are today, and he's lying in intensive care in critical condition, but stable.
Yeah.
And
he has a broken heart.
Could be. I know it broke my heart when I heard about it. Getting back from the Regina game Friday night, I had all kinds of messages.
Yeah, but the last day, you're a pro for 6 weeks, and all of a sudden, boom.
Yeah.
That's right. I know what you mean
Yeah,
now when
exactly.
you say broken. Yeah, I go along with them. But that's how determined he goes back to his high school and keeps working out.
Yep.
Yeah.
And if you saw any of the comments by the current and former Hawkeye football players, they said this kid will overcome this. He's overcome everything else in life, and he's risen to the occasion. In fact, exceeded expectations of him. I can't remember how many interceptions he had for Iowa, but if you think back, he had a lot of game-changing moments for the Hawkeyes on the field.
Just what I was going to say. When he had one, it was really important. It really counted for us at the time you do it.
Yep.
Well, just think we had Greenwood and Sash both starting back there at safety for 3 years.
Yeah, 3 years each. And
Yeah, you miss those guys.
it's just hard to believe that this has happened to such a
boy.
young, healthy individual, but you never know. It
No.
could be a heart valve issue. It could be anything.
Well, what it does, though, I mean, unfortunately, most likely, he still wants to play football.
That's right.
And that's probably going to end that career.
Sure
Just
could.
hope he gets through it
That's all that
physically
matters
and
right
mentally.
now.
That's all that matters. But to him, it's not all that matters.
You know what?
I'm sure.
He's the type guy who'll become a good coach somewhere.
Oh, yeah.
Well, I have to believe this weighed heavy on the current Hawkeye
Yeah.
football players' minds. When they suited up Saturday morning in Ames, they apparently heard about it Friday night when they were in Ames at the hotel. And I know it shook a lot of them up because everybody except the true freshman played with him, knew him,
Oh, yeah.
lived with him, and
He's a clean-cut guy.
all the way. All the way.
That deserves a question because we're talking about Iowa football. This Howe,
Rob Howe.
Rob Howe, he asked Kirk a question, and he said, "What about?"
Darrell Johnson Koulianos.
Yes, and that upset Kirk.
I don't blame him. I
don't
think it should have been brought up.
I don't
That's
either.
the kind of reporters we have around this
Yeah,
city.
yeah.
Well, he's not even a reporter.
No, he's
Well, he's on
He's
one
not
of those guys
affiliated.
on one
Yeah.
of those networks, ain't
I
he?
thought you had to have a pass to get in.
Well, you do, but there are reporters like Pat Hardy.
Yeah, can't they remember things that have happened?
It's past tense. It's history. I mean,
Yeah.
why even ask the question?
In fact, I think
Well,
Kirk
specifically-
was doing him a favor
Huh?
by not bringing his name up.
Yeah,
Because
you're right.
well, if I don't know, it really upset me because
Did you see the video of it?
no, but the
You'd
pros.
be really upset if you
But
saw
the
the
pros
video.
know everything about this kid.
Mhm.
Everything about it. How he walks, how he sleeps, how he eats, and what he smokes and all that kind of stuff.
Yep.
And
Yeah.
and they bring it up in the wrong time.
Yep.
No,
Well, the reason Rob Howe asked it was because apparently DJK had told Rob Howe recently that Kirk had been
I don't believe
bad
it.
mouthing.
I don't believe it.
And well, Kirk said it wasn't true, and that's all I need to hear.
That's right.
But how?
No, but
what I
why
don't
would
like about it.
Why would you take something in the past and bring it up
Yeah.
Well-
at a press conference after getting beat by Iowa State? Kurt had enough things on his mind in this screen. He had enough things on, and then to have somebody bring something like that up at a press conference,
Well, I think
wouldn't
he
even
did
be
it.
allowed in that. He wouldn't come back. I would not allow the guy to come back to another press conference.
In Howe's defense, it seemed like it was a very recent conversation with DJK,
Oh, below.
and that's why he brought it up. now. And there's really no other forum for him to ask Kurt than his Tuesday news conferences. So I understand why he did it, but what I don't understand...
I don't appreciate him doing it.
Well, what I don't appreciate is he was persistent. And then after the news conference was over, I don't know if you realize this, but after the news conference was over, he continued with the questioning. And after each Tuesday news conference, Kirk is really good about talking, if you will, not off the record, but just extra Kirk, as Tom Kakert calls it. And in this particular case, you know, he made it real clear to Rob Howe that he was not happy with him, and Howe just kept after him.
What does Howe do?
I wish I could tell you accurately. I know he writes for
Hawkeye.
I want to say Hawkeye Nation.
That's it, or something like that.
It might. Is it Hawkeye?
No, it's Hawkeye.
It's not Hawkeye Insider, is it?
I don't know.
It's not Tom Kakert's website. I'll tell you that.
He graduated from a local school here? No. Okay.
Good question. I don't know.
Well, he worked for the Press Citizen.
Yes, one time he was with the Press Citizen.
Yeah, that's where you heard. He worked there. I didn't like when he worked.
He was
I don't like any of those reporters for the Press Citizen.
Well, he was on that staff for quite a while, wasn't he? Press Citizen?
I think so.
Yes. Yeah, they laid a bunch of them off.
Yeah.
So he's either working for himself and or one of these online groups. It's not Tom Kakert. And I'll tell you, what Rob did the other day is what separates guys like him from guys like Tom Kakert. Tom is a professional, and he knows how to go about his business professionally. He would never do that, and he wouldn't, I don't know.
The guy that could ask those piercing questions with class was Al Grady.
Oh, yeah.
Al Grady had the respect of all the coaches because he could criticize in a nice way or ask a question that was,
he wouldn't at this press conference.
Right, that's what I was going to say.
That's right.
But
See,
Al, timing is everything.
I wished all of them would have to be a coach. That coach went through so much more than I did or you did or anyone else. You think he liked that loss?
Oh, no.
No.
And this brings it in like if we had him, we would have won, the way I took it.
Oh, DJK?
Yes.
Well, that doesn't make any sense.
No, but that's what he bring it up for then.
I do think if we would have had Jordan Bernstein playing Saturday, we might have won.
It made a difference.
Well, I think
he's
if
a punisher.
I think if we would have had McCall in there, we would have won.
That would have made a difference too. Yeah.
Well, you know what? We didn't though, and
no.
So you're going to suffer criticism. There are a couple calls that everybody's questioning. Well, you know what? That's just hindsight's 20/20, isn't it?
Now, Bud and Bob went to the game in Ames,
yeah.
And I would like to hear about your experience while you were there.
Well, you know what? The last time I went to an Iowa State game at Ames 6 years ago, I said I'm not coming back because of the way the fans had treated us just walking through the parking lot the two previous times. But we had a great time Saturday. We sat around a bunch of fun people that were both Hawkeyes and Cyclones, and we all had a good time. It was a great game, and everybody had a good attitude about it. And, hey, somebody had to win, somebody had to lose, unfortunately.
Yep.
But it was, if you look at the game itself, I mean, it's a historic game.
Yeah.
Good game.
You know, I mean, the points scored, the triple overtime. Were we disappointed? Absolutely. But were the fans terrific? Yes, they were.
Good.
See, Dirk, I'd like to ask you a question.
Sure.
Who makes the final decision when the plays go into the quarterback?
Well, theoretically, you'd say the head coach.
I think it is.
But we've heard from Kirk in the past that he defers most all of the offensive play calling, if not decision making, to Ken O'Keefe. So I don't know. Bud?
What do you think?
I think Kurt has the final say.
Well, he does.
Yes.
He does. But my question, and I think Earl's question, is who made that decision? Was it Ken or Kirk?
You mean on that?
No. I mean on the plays, every play that's called.
Yeah.
That's Ken O'Keefe.
Yeah, Ken
It's
O'Keefe.
Ken O'Keefe.
However, I think it's Kurt that goes up and says, Ken, let's try Dobie. Mm-hmm. Let's try, I just picked those names out. Let's try this other guy. Let's just see what happens. I think it's Kurt that finally goes up and tells a defensive coach.
Norm Parker?
Norm. hey, let's start blitzing some here. We need to blitz a little more.
And they did.
Yeah, I know, but I mean, I think this is how it goes on. But I mean,
Okay.
I think the head coach is the head coach, and if he wants to make a suggestion, but if he thinks that everything's going as much as they can do, he's not going to interfere. But when he feels that he should interfere, I think he does.
Yeah, I do.
Well,
too.
wasn't there some discussion at halftime that Kirk mentioned that maybe they should start going a little more to their go-to guys as far as the receivers were concerned?
Well, I don't
like
know.
McNutt.
Yeah, I don't know about the coaches' discussion, but there was plenty of it on the radio.
Oh boy, listen to Eddie Pogolak. Did you really?
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
Eddie,
We listened to him.
I didn't
Yeah.
Is that
get
right?
that, but I heard he really got upset.
Eddie in the second quarter, I was listening, and he's kept saying they're out here. McNutt,
Mm-hmm.
man to man, 1-on-1. He's 6'4". The defensive back's 5'9".
Well, they double teamed him.
No,
a
they
lot.
didn't.
No, they didn't.
No, they
Most
didn't.
of those are 1-on-1, man to man on those
McNutt even
edges,
said
yeah.
they didn't do anything unusual against him.
And Ed was a little surprised. One thing about Pogolak and they're not critical ever, nor should they be, of our coaching staff. They're very neutral, but Eddie will, make points or suggestions, and he was surprised. If you look at the second quarter, if you review it on tape, we were running the ball a lot into the middle,
Yep.
and we had that one-on-one coverage out there, and we didn't take advantage of it. Did they throw to McNutt once?
Yeah.
In the first half?
One time, I
Okay.
think it was a 6-yard pass. It was good for a first down. It wasn't an exceptional play, but it was a first down. He only got 6 receptions the whole game, if I remember right. But he still was far underutilized, given the imbalance. He's 6'4", 6'5".
Yeah.
And Iowa State's defensive backs, none of them were even close to 6 foot. And
Yeah,
he
5'9".
could have. I just think he could have schooled them all day long. And that's one of the great mysteries of that game. I was saying that in the second
See, I
quarter.
disagree with both of you.
Tell us why.
He was defending more than man on man because at one time the guy committed should have been a penalty. He come in on the side of him. There was always 2 guys around him.
Well, your safeties could move either way.
Well, that's not what I'm saying.
Yeah.
Then I talked to somebody that said he hangs around with some of the Iowa State players.
Who does?
This kid that I was talking to,
Oh, yeah.
the name's student.
Yeah.
He said he hangs around from Tuesday all the way up to the game. All they did is study the Iowa-Missouri game.
Huh.
That's all they did.
Really?
Watch that day in and day out. And this is, to me, was some of the things that Missouri did wrong that they did right.
Well, that could be, but I'm not criticizing the coaching staff for telling them what
No,
they
well,
should have done, but
But
that was.
I'm
that
not
was-
second guessing
talking
any of
about-
those coaches. I think they're the best coaches in the world. They tried everything. They were only supposed to win by 7 points,
Yeah.
and now everybody
Well-
wants to criticize them.
Well,
Let's
look-
give Iowa State some credit.
Absolutely, but
Well, they-
I'm just stating what Pogolak was talking about in the
Right.
second quarter.
Well, he's the
On the
one that did
radio.
a lot of criticizing
And-
because we were losing. He wouldn't have done any of that.
No.
If we were ahead, he
He
wouldn't have
was-
done
he
any
wasn't
of that.
We were
Criticizing.
winning. We were winning in the second quarter.
Yeah, he wasn't criticizing. He was wondering why they
Well, I
weren't
heard
attacking
from
that.
different people that he was doing a lot of criticizing.
I didn't hear him
No.
criticize. I did hear him.
Well, it depends how you want to define criticize.
He did say in the overtime that he disagreed with kicking the field goal on 4th and 1. He said, "I think that's a mistake," quote unquote. And there was another point at the end of regulation, and I cannot, for the life of me, recall right now what the play was, but he again said, "I think this is a mistake. We might have been going for a field goal." I don't remember right now, guys.
Well, it might have been at the end of the game when it was a minute 17 left, and
Oh,
we had 2 timeouts.
that's
and
what
we
it
ran
was.
Coker into
That's
the
what
line.
it was. That's exactly what it was. And I have to agree with him
You
on
know?
both counts.
I agree with that. I say, hey, give
we-
these guys a chance to win.
You guys were on the road, but the very next game on TV was Notre Dame, Michigan.
Oh yeah.
And they had a minute 20 left in their game, virtually the same amount as Iowa and Iowa State. And there were 3 touchdowns scored in that amount of time.
2 by Michigan, 1 by Notre Dame.
Yeah, it can
No,
be
I
done.
agree with you there.
It can be done.
Now,
And-
let me point out, Michigan's driving down for that final touchdown.
Mhm.
By the way, they got the ball with 28 seconds left on the 20-yard line, okay? So they had a 64-yard play. They get down there and they're a whatever yard line. They're within the 10-yard line. 8 seconds left. Well, could have kicked a field goal, tied it, and gone into overtime. Brady Hoke, head coach, get together. It's called timeout, pass play.
And they're on
Touchdown.
the road. They're on the road at Notre Dame.
No, they're in Michigan.
No, they're in Michigan.
Oh,
Yeah.
that's right.
Okay,
Tell you what.
they throw
I
they
did.
throw an 8-yard pass, touchdown. 2 seconds left, win the game.
Yeah.
They had the choice to kick the field goal with 8 seconds left, or go for one more play. And if it had been incomplete, they'd have had the 2 seconds. They could have
Yeah.
gone for the field goal. What do you think we would have done?
Field goal.
That's right.
And Podolak made a point that on the road, I can't remember if it was the end of regulation with a minute something left, you have to go for the win. And he may have said it at 4th and 1. Now you think about it, if okay, it's 4th and 6.
Has he coached? Has he coached?
No.
Oh, I just want to know.
Knows a little bit about
But-
football.
He-
Knows a little bit
He
about
knows a
football.
little bit.
Yeah.
Don't underestimate any Polak.
Here,
But he did play in a
That's all
Super
I'm-
Bowl team for the
Yeah,
Kansas
I'm
City
just taking-
Chiefs.
I
You
know.
know, so.
Here's what I think. It was 4th and 6, and we were getting ready to kick the field goal. And or was it? Yeah, 4th and 6.
Yes.
Field goal, and Iowa State has a penalty,
Right.
a dumb penalty, and now it's 4th and 1, and that's when Podolak's going, oh, that make them pay. You know, this could really hurt them. You had them on their heels. 4th and 1. They hadn't been able to
4th and
stop.
1, is that, Iowa got penalties.
No, it was Iowa State
Iowa
that got
State.
penalized.
It
Well,
was
they
in
got
the-
penalized first.
it was
to
in
make us go back there, and then we come right back.
Right. So
Okay.
it was
It was
4th,
in the third overtime.
Okay.
4th and 1. Now they're on their heels.
Why
They
is it 4th
screwed
and
up.
1? How do you get 4th and 1?
They had some odd penalty. Bob, do you
I
remember?
don't remember what the penalty-
4th and 6?
It was 4th and 6.
Yes.
But there was a
Oh, okay.
penalty.
And,
They
and
got
they got a
penalized.
5-yard
It was like-
penalty.
They had too many men on the
I
field.
think that
I
was
think
it.
that's what it was.
Okay.
5-yard penalty. Now it's
Yeah.
4th and 1.
Oh, okay.
And
Third
so
overtime.
all of a sudden, they're on their heels. All of a sudden, you've got a little bit of momentum. Instead of going for this field goal, you could throw Coker at them. Odds are they're not going to stop him for less than a yard. And then you can go in and score. And really, you know, all of a sudden, the momentum's gone from Iowa State. That's what I was thinking when it happened so fast, the penalty, and I'm going, wait a minute, 4th and 1? Is it first down? I thought maybe it's first down. No, 4th and 1. Go for it. And
But-
Podolak said, you gotta go for it there.
But what would have
Well, a
happened? Now
coach will
listen,
say go for the points.
that's what Kirk did. Now
And
if
that's
he
what he
did,
said.
That's what.
if they'd have held Iowa on that 4th and 1 and he didn't kick the field goal,
Yeah.
they'd be criticizing the heck out of him for not taking the points.
I wouldn't have. I
But-
wouldn't have.
But you know, those are decisions that you
See,
have
same
to
with the
make.
Notre Dame one that you were just talking about. If that clock would have ran out, they'd been hanging that Michigan coach for not going for the tie.
Yeah.
It hasn't been talked about.
But he knew he had enough time
It
for a
hasn't been
quick
talked
out.
about. But he was bumped up quite a bit. And I said, is Bobby gonna beat us? And he said, and he didn't answer me. And he said, well, he's done pretty good. McCartney's done pretty good, and Donnie Duncan's done pretty good, and they all beat us 3 or 4. Duncan was the head coach, and McCartney was the head coach, and
Earl Bruce.
no, and
No, I know what you
Elliott was,
Oh,
and they always beat us. And
Donnie Duncan beat us 3 out of 3.
I know it, and who was on the coaching staff? Elliott.
yep.
And that game, the preparations were all Bob Elliott's trademark.
I believe
Yeah.
it.
Yeah.
I believe it.
And
But-
I haven't talked to Bump since that ball game, but Bump said one thing. He said, and I went to see him when he had leukemia and he got over it and he got cured. And he was on the Iowa staff at that time.
That's right.
And we won with him on the staff here at Iowa. And I still say that Bobby Elliott, I'm a true friend of his, and his he was on that staff, and he gave them proper advice, and they followed it to a T, and he knows how to beat us.
Yeah, I agree.
Well, you're right, Murph,
Yeah.
and Buddy said it earlier. I mean, at some point here, as a Hawkeye fan, we got to give Iowa State credit.
Yes,
They played one whale of a game.
absolutely.
I mean, offensively, they
And,
played one whale of a game.
Here's a little trivia.
Just kept coming at
Mhm.
us, you know.
Little trivia for you.
Okay.
Yeah,
Hawkeyes scored how many points Saturday?
41.
That's the most points they've ever scored and lost in the history of the program since 1890.
That I did not know.
41 points is the most they've ever scored in a game
Yeah.
and lost.
Wow.
In fact, by a long shot, the most points previously was 35, and that was a while ago. It was in the 90s.
And what's the most
I
points
can't
scored against us?
Don't know that.
72, I know one.
How about that Ohio State game, 83?
Okay.
Yeah, there you go. That's got to be, yeah, like 83-12 or
Yeah.
something. Yeah, it was a
Forgot about
ridiculous
that
number.
one.
The guys are hiding.
Oh, my God.
Oh.
But this is a case where defense wins ball games,
And we didn't have the defense.
and we don't have the defense. Now,
Is the
They did-
defensive
they
line
did
one
that
of the
bad?
reasons nobody wants to bring this up, and I just learned it, but we are outmanned 30 pounds, not outmanned, but we're 30 pounds of less weight on every man than last year.
I didn't know that. But it looked like it against Iowa State.
They were beefy.
We
Yeah.
couldn't,
In
we
their
couldn't
line, yeah.
push
No.
the line back.
No. So
Yeah,
you
they're
have to take
Well,
that in
we
Not
must
that
have
they can't
Well, they
come
must
back.
have pushed it back because Coker didn't do too bad.
No, he didn't.
Are you
Uh,
talking about their offensive line compared to our defensive line,
I was
right?
talking defensive line myself.
Yeah, I
Yeah,
was
they
too.
had us outweighed
Yeah,
big time there,
30.
yeah.
Yeah, it was
Wait.
their
Whose line was outweighed?
our defensive line was outweighed
Okay.
By their
30
offense,
pounds.
yeah.
Well, not by
No,
their offense,
not-
by the
not
last
them.
year's
30
defensive line.
Otherwise,
Oh, okay.
now name a kid that we lost on the line last year.
Adrian.
He weighed 30 more pounds than his replacement,
Yeah. And
Okay.
all the way down the line.
It
Okay.
showed. It showed, I
Yeah.
thought. We had a really hard time pushing their offensive line back. We had a hard time with
Especially in the
containment.
second quarter.
Uh-huh.
But this doesn't mean it's not going to change.
I agree.
What happened the last time Iowa State beat us?
We went undefeated the rest of the year.
We went to the Orange Bowl.
Well, that wasn't the last time they beat us, 2002. Was that the year you're talking about, Banks?
I think that's what you're talking about.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, where did we go 207 when they beat us? Or
Orange
207, we went to,
They beat us at home in 2002, and I
Well,
think
we went to the Orange Bowl twice. Once was 9 and the other was 02, so.
yeah,
You know.
yeah.
Who has, how does the record stand between?
oh, we're way ahead of them.
We're about 2 games to 1 for them. What's not good is Kirk's record against them
Right.
is 6-7 now.
Right.
No,
Yeah,
Yeah.
6-7.
they gained one, didn't they?
6-7.
Wasn't it 6-7 going
We've
into
won
it?
6,
Nope.
and they've won 7 in Kirk's 13 season.
Oh, okay.
They were 6-6 going into,
Is
or
that
Kirk
right?
was. Kirk was 6-6,
I thought it was
but
6
they've
and
won the
7.
last,
Yep.
3? We won in 10, 9, 8. Last time they beat us was 7.
When
And
they
we
had
could've
all
won
those
That's what I
field
thought,
goals.
7.
Yeah,
Now, what
that's
bowl
last-
did we go in 7?
Was that when we lost to Texas?
No, I think that's the game where we beat, in that, not the Alamo, but one where we threw the pass at the end of the game.
Oh,
LSU?
against LSU. And,
No, that was earlier,
Yeah.
What was that?
like 05.
I think it was
7.
the game we lost to Texas in the Alamo
Yeah.
Bowl.
I think you might be
Was that
right.
Alamo?
Freedom.
No, no.
What year did we
That
not
was-
go to a
yes,
bowl?
Texas.
We
08?
played them in the Freedom Bowl, but more recently, we played them in
We
I
played
think
who?
the Alamo Bowl, Texas. We had them down in the first half, and they called that.
Yeah.
No, I
One
don't think it
penalty.
was that.
No,
I think it was one of those Florida bowls, either the,
Could have been.
uh,
Yeah. We played a lot of Florida Bowls in that era.
yeah.
Well, that's the last time Iowa State beat us was
07
07 season, yeah.
Yeah, well, then I'm sure we were down in Florida, and I think it was.
We got to get them here next year.
Yep.
Ah, yeah.
Well,
Yeah.
what we got to do is
Beat Pittsburgh. That's what we got to do.
beat Pittsburgh. That
Yeah.
game is Saturday at 11 a.m. It's on ESPN2, and Pittsburgh's no slouch. They are going to drive us nuts with the fastest 60 minutes in football, as they like to call their offense. No huddle, spread offense. They've got the nation's leading rusher, a kid named Graham. Let's see here. Todd Graham, I'm sorry, that's the coach. Ray Graham is their running back, and he averages 161 yards per game.
Is that his son?
No relation.
Oh, okay.
The head coach for Pitt, and he's a new coach. He comes from Tulsa University.
Yeah.
His name is Todd Graham. He had a really good record at Tulsa, although my brother and his son told me, they live in Tulsa, and they told me that they were glad to get rid of him down there. I guess he's not, he doesn't do the most with his talent, and they get a lot of talent at Tulsa.
How
thanks
was
to
the record?
football. Their record now is 2-0, but they barely squeaked by Maine, which is an FCS school, where Kirk Ferentz had his first head coaching job. The Black Bears.
Yeah.
Who else did they play?
I forget who they played the week before, but they won.
Well, I think
forget.
they also have a couple of ex-Michigan staffers that were on Rodriguez's staff.
Oh, really?
So it's that, it's that run and shoot
Yeah.
kind of spread.
Well, we're not
offense.
good at that.
Yeah. That's
No,
what
we're not.
gonna be playing
That's our
against.
hardest.
Yeah.
And I just, a lot of people
Defender.
are speculating that our defensive schematics are outdated because so many teams have the spread offense now, and so many teams are employing mobile quarterbacks that they run our defense members ragged.
It's that short pass.
Yep.
Short
The
pass.
5-6 yard
5-6
dig and
yarder.
dunk.
Yeah.
And that's what killed us Saturday. Here's another little stat.
Little stat.
George Wine pointed this out in his weekly column for the Hawkeye website. And he said, Saturday was painfully reminiscent of last season when Iowa failed to protect late game leads against Wisconsin, Northwestern, and Ohio State, losing all three of those games by a total of 8 points. And then he went on to say, at Iowa State Saturday, the home team scored touchdowns on each of its last 4 possessions. And that just can't happen. Just can't happen.
Well, the one that
overtime
hurt,
or not.
The one that hurt when they had 4 and 8, and went for it and got it.
Yeah. They had
That turned into be a touchdown.
3rd and 20.
3rd and 15, 3rd and 20, and he picks them up. Oh, boy.
That just can't happen. Now,
Yeah.
the good news is this coaching staff is very adept at coaching the players up as the
Yeah.
season goes on. And that's going to happen again.
And the staff works together.
Yeah, they really do. And that'll happen again. I don't have any doubt about that. But these guys are going to have to get better in a hurry because Pitt is
The only
not a slouch.
thing I have to go back and say, and I agree with Murph a lot, when McCarney and Elliott's up at Iowa State, I can't sleep very good at night. Because they know how to prepare for us.
Yeah. They sure do.
And this has happened. But this was one hell of a good game. When you go 3 overtime, if you had to take a vote throughout the nation on what game was the best, if they would have had TV for this game, this would have been the best ball game.
I'm going to
Now
disagree
it
with
went.
you.
If they had Michigan.
Michigan, Notre Dame.
Number one,
No.
Michigan Notre Dame was a better game.
No,
I don't
it
think
didn't
this
go
game
3
was well
overtimes.
played.
We almost played 2 games.
Yeah, but that doesn't make it a better game. I think there were a lot of
Why
mistakes.
do you say Notre Dame was a better game?
It was.
I watched it.
It was.
Well,
it
what
was,
about Notre Dame losing the lead like that?
Yeah.
Absolutely.
This would have been a better game if we'd have won.
Yeah, but even then, I
Well,
wouldn't have
that's
said.
what I
Even if
see.
we would have won, I wouldn't have said.
I'll tell you,
I
that's
wouldn't have
the
said.
point I'm trying to make.
Yeah.
I thought it was a
How I
very.
look at it, I don't know.
In my opinion, it was a very frustrating game to watch. There were so many drop passes by the tight ends and by the wide receivers there. And Iowa State, up until the 4th quarter, their quarterback was overthrowing wide open receivers who
But
the
he
Iowa
could
defense.
run. Now let's don't knock that quarterback. He did one hell of a job, I felt.
He did in the 4th
He's
quarter.
done it 2 weeks in a row now.
Yeah, in the 4th
2
quarter.
row. Okay, see. That's where you win ball games.
Watch him go in the tank against Connecticut on
Well,
Friday
we'll
night.
see.
That's about what'll
we'll see.
happen
Are they playing Friday night?
Yeah.
Friday night,
Oh,
yeah.
I'll be darned.
At Connecticut.
No, I don't think
ESPN
it was a
too.
well-played game. I just
Oh,
don't.
I thought it was.
I thought
I thought it was exciting.
yes,
but not well
absolutely exciting. It was gut-wrenching the whole way through, but there were just way too many mistakes on both sides of the ball for both teams.
Never in my life have I gave Iowa State credit, and this time I'm going to give them credit.
They deserve the credit.
Well,
they
you better
rose
But
to
I
the
mean, as
occasion.
far as playing a good game, you knew when that quarterback was going to get that ball, there was going to be action, and that's why they scored 47 points.
Yeah.
You know what? You're going to have to give Paul Rhodes credit because he's
That's
turning this
right.
program around. and
That's right. Well, and
I
He's
do.
going to do a hell of a
Elliott
job
helped
playing
him
in
out a
the
lot.
Conference
Like I
USA
said, I
next
can't
year.
sleep at night as long as he's up there.
I heard- I
We
got
got rid of McCarney up there.
Did you hear what Bob just said?
But
He's going to do a hell of a job next year in the Conference USA. In other words, Big 12's not going to be around next year.
No, I
It
know.
You
isn't.
think so?
No.
No,
Nope.
Really?
Oklahoma and Okie
No,
State are
they got-
gone.
Where-
Nothing official.
Where's Oklahoma going?
Pac-12.
Pac-12, the Oklahoma and
Pac-10,
Oklahoma State are
Pac-12.
going that direction.
Pac-15.
And you know what? If Texas doesn't go with them, they're stupid. Because the Texas is the reason everybody's breaking
But
up.
I
the
don't
Pac-
think
Texas
Texas
could be the
will.
next
Big
Notre
12
Dame.
anyway.
They could be the next Notre Dame and go independent
They could
and
that
take
may
on all
happen.
comers. That's
That's
right.
they're
happen.
getting-
And then
all
it would
this has
justify
started
them
from
keeping
the
all
money.
that money.
That's where
That's
that
right.
all started from. This money.
You
thing.
bet.
That's the only thing that started it. They
That's
took
right.
all the meat.
Those-
They take 60%, gives the rest of
Yeah.
teams 40%.
Yeah.
That's right.
I'd leave too.
I would too.
I'd
Well,
rather be in the American
but
League or
they
whatever.
agreed to it in the first place. All those Big 12 schools agreed to that.
I know it.
And then Nebraska said, I've changed my mind. Colorado said, that doesn't
Right.
fit so well.
Now Okie State and Oklahoma are going.
Yeah.
And boy, I'll tell you what, it's going to be an interesting landscape
It will be.
at the end of this season to see what
Missouri.
happens to the Big 12.
Yeah. Where's Missouri and Kansas going to end up?
Well,
I think-
Missouri, I think, will find something, but I don't think the two Kansas will, and I don't think Iowa State will.
Do you think it's going to cause a major problem for Iowa State? Do you think when that happens that the Big Ten will add any more teams, even though they say they're
Boy,
not?
right now they say they aren't.
What if they
I
had an
don't think they
opportunity to
will.
bring in Texas and Notre Dame? You think they wouldn't jump at that?
No, I don't think they
I
bring in
don't think
Texas
so.
at all.
Okay.
No way.
I think they're on top of the world right now the way they are.
Yeah.
Who?
The Big Ten.
And there's no way Texas would do it. They'd have to share equally. And that isn't what Texas does.
That's right.
Everything's got to be bigger in Texas.
Well, Notre
Yeah.
Dame the same way.
Have we ever
They
voted
got
on?
their own network. They don't want to
Notre
leave
Dame's
yet.
more about
Have the four of us
independence.
ever had a vote on Nebraska, whether we take them in or not?
Let's do it now.
Let's do it.
Yeah.
I felt this. I haven't changed my mind one
You
bit.
know, would you want prior to the season, in other words, Nebraska in the Big Ten? Is that what you're saying, Murph?
Mhm.
I'd say
Bob?
yes.
I say no.
I say no.
I say yes.
Okay.
Tie.
Okay.
Let's go to
Earl,
overtime.
why do you say no?
They're part of the Big Six.
Yeah.
And then went to Big Eight.
The old Big Six.
Big 12.
Big 12, yes.
Now they're in the Big Ten. They're going the other way.
You know,
It has 12
somebody
teams. It's
brought
getting
up
confusing.
the points. Nebraska is a great institution. Do they qualify really to be in the Big Ten?
No, academically they don't. And what you may not know is that Wisconsin and Michigan voted them out of the AAU because of their poor academic standing. They are not up to the same level
It's Penn State.
as Penn State. Penn State is fine
Yeah.
Yes.
academically.
Yes.
Nebraska is not. Now here, and I just, football and money rule the Big
Now, I'd
Ten.
have to see that on paper.
I'll show it to
Why?
you. I will. This has been
Because there
recently
was
released.
just something that my grandson that lives in Omaha said I was dead wrong.
About?
Because them not meeting the qualifications.
They don't.
They've been
They
moved down to
don't.
the AAU, which is the, what do they call that? It's an academic.
Amateur.
Like your
It's an
name,
no,
you
it's an
see-
academic association.
You
It's,
see that, I think, maybe I'm wrong, but we have a great medical school.
Mhm.
And.
Every Big Ten school is top notch.
Yes.
And no matter what anyone thinks or wants to think, the Big Ten was formed with academics as the number one centerpiece. And the Big Ten made accommodations for Nebraska academically
Yes.
because they do not qualify. And I bet he knows. But it was just revealed. It was just revealed last week that Michigan and University of Michigan and the University of Wisconsin both voted no on Nebraska's participation in the AAU.
But what this will make Nebraska do is pay more attention to that and give them 4 or 5 years, and I bet their academics.
They're gonna have to.
And then both Wisconsin and Michigan probably voted them down because they're scared of them.
No,
These are not.
no.
These
This
are
is
not
total
athletic.
academics.
This is totally removed from that.
Yeah, this is total academics, not athletics.
It's academics, and again, Nebraska. It's not just academics because I look at it athletically. They don't bring anything to the table for basketball or wrestling or women's sports. They've got
Good
every once in a
volleyball
while
team.
they've got good volleyball and good basketball, but they don't now, and they don't have good basketball. Once in a while they'll have a decent wrestler or two, but they don't bring anything else to the table athletically besides football.
But they may, because now they're in the Big Ten and they have
may.
more exposure.
But what made more sense to me from day one was Missouri, because number one, they are a superior academic institution in every
But
way,
they
shape,
play
and
who
form.
they want to play.
Who?
Missouri.
What do you mean?
Well, they wouldn't play us 2 years ago.
No, that was the football coach
Well,
doing what he thought.
okay.
Yeah.
Rescheduling.
But as far as comparing them to Nebraska, they are superior academically. They are competitive in all men's and women's sports. They bring not one but 2 TV markets to the Big Ten in St. Louis and Kansas City. Nebraska brings 1, and it doesn't come. Omaha really doesn't come close to the TVs.
Why are they on TV all the time?
Why don't we have Gary Barta on the show?
They're not.
Yeah.
They're not on all the time.
Gary Barta.
They're on there a lot.
They weren't on the first 2 weeks of the season.
Gary
Well, they
Barta
don't
would
have
be
a
good on
network.
having the show.
But they do. They
Yeah,
have a
we
Big
can have
Ten
them on.
network, and they weren't on either week. They weren't on last week, and they weren't on the week before. I tried to find them. They weren't.
This is Missouri.
Well,
you're
but
talking
No,
about?
Nebraska.
The Big Ten had 5 on the first week.
Nebraska
didn't
wasn't
get it
one of
here.
them.
Well, I'd have to see that, and
Well, I was
because
home.
they advertised that weekend that you would see every ball game in your area.
Oh, that may be.
Okay, yeah.
That may be,
They
but
probably did.
they haven't been on anything big because primarily
Well,
they
we
didn't
haven't
play
either.
anybody good.
We were on that same weekend.
They almost got beat. Nebraska almost got beat
By-
Saturday night.
By Fresno State.
Fresno State.
Yeah,
Well, Fresno State's probably.
yeah, I was going to say they're not a bad
Wisconsin
team.
got by them.
But anyway,
2
my
years ago,
reason for
barely.
wanting them in there,
Well, they're
as
in.
long as we
Here's the
play
deal,
them on
guys.
Friday
They're
after
in.
Thanksgiving, because
Yeah.
then you get national TV
Yeah.
all the time. And I can remember as a little boy,
Yep.
Nebraska and Oklahoma
Yep.
playing on the Friday
Penn
after
State was
Thanksgiving.
not too bad. But I didn't buy Nebraska.
I didn't buy it either. I still don't, and I think it should have been Missouri, but that's that. It's done.
Yeah.
I don't think Missouri's coming to the Big Ten, and I don't think the Big Ten's going to open their doors. The only reason they would is if Notre Dame has changed their mind and said,
Yes.
we'll come in.
It is now. They're again. They say they're a great institution, but do they qualify? Coming into Iowa?
They don't. Notre Dame actually does not qualify because of their lack of postgraduate degrees. Their grad school, master degree program isn't as strong as the other Big Ten schools. Their undergrad program is just as strong, in fact, stronger than most of the Big Ten schools except Northwestern. But they don't have the postgraduate
Yeah.
program.
But trust me, they want it in. All
Yeah.
they got to do is make a phone call.
Yeah, and it would make so much sense if you had Notre Dame on the one side, Missouri on the other. Then you've got a very balanced geographic conference, and you've maintained rivalries. You've got Missouri, Illinois.
Oh, yeah.
You'll have one with Missouri, Iowa. You'd still have Missouri, Nebraska. That's a huge rivalry. And then you've got Notre Dame with all of their Big Ten rivals intact: Michigan State, Michigan, Purdue,
Oh, yeah.
and maybe even Iowa, because we were a big rival of theirs until about the time John Kennedy got killed.
Well, I'll tell you what, I'd love to see Missouri and Notre Dame come in. That'd be my
Yeah.
first 2 choices, but
Well,
Probably not going to happen.
you know what ruined that Notre Dame Iowa relationship was when Forrest Eversesky went and
He
said-
told the truth.
He sang that little poem.
Yeah.
Well, it really upset Notre Dame.
They're cheating. Notre Dame,
Yeah.
they were cheaters back then.
Yeah, that's right.
Yeah, they didn't play fair and square.
No,
They're-
and Leahy was terrible.
yeah. So
Yeah.
we kind of got off the point. No, we didn't.
Oh,
Um,
but how about Bart getting Bart on the show?
I'd
No, we
love
could-
to.
Yeah,
Gary'd come on. Just his schedule is.
Yeah.
We'll
Really
try.
restrictive,
We'll
yeah.
try.
We'll ask
Yeah.
him at our lunch on Friday
Yeah.
because we never mentioned.
But I just
Right, Joe?
ask him these questions. He'll
Sure,
know where they
that's
fall.
all we'll do.
Let's see here. I do want to mention we got. I don't know how much time we got left here. We got about 15 minutes.
Okay.
I
7 minutes.
I want to tell you about tailgating
25?
at
Okay.
Iowa State.
Were you tailgating over there? You mean at Ames?
Yeah, well, after the game, I wasn't too happy. I wanted to get out of there.
Yep.
But the other guys wanted to go find Nate. And that place is just loaded with tents.
Mhm.
They own the property so you can park anywhere you want.
Mhm.
And they were celebrating, which they deserved to celebrate it. I was glad to see that.
Absolutely.
So I said to Bernie Pribble, I said, Bernie, I want a witness. Now you tell me when you see the first policeman, and I'll tell you when I see one.
Ah,
We walked clear around there. There wasn't one policeman around there.
Amazing.
And there was no trouble at all. So that's what I call
Glad to hear you say
policeman
that.
calls and troubles.
glad to hear you say that.
And that's the way it used to be at Iowa.
Yeah.
Amen. And that's
Good
I,
point,
I
yeah.
wanted to
Somebody,
get this off my shoulder.
I'm glad you said that. Somebody on Tom Kakert's website this week brought up the Bob Cummings era and how much more fun it was to go to a game and tailgate.
He'd come out and join us.
Well,
Yeah.
Yeah.
when you think about it, the security wasn't even an
No,
issue.
That's right.
Permar.
Yeah. And they didn't hassle anybody. You could bring a Boda in filled with wine,
Oh,
and you
yeah.
could sneak a few beers and sit in the grass, and nobody cared, and nobody was watching you with binoculars on the top of the press box like
Or
they do
staring
now.
at you, just
You know
why?
staring
Because
and
the
trouble was
walking in
pretty
groups
bad.
of 5 and 6, or getting on those golf carts and ride around, and it's
Yep.
just bad.
Nobody cared if you smoked a cigar in the parking lot.
You know, I'll never forget the Iowa State game, the first one in '77.
Uh-huh.
After it was over, Bob Cummings and I were going to be at a certain place, and we walked, he walked towards me and he hugged me and he said, "Finally,
Yeah.
finally."
Big win.
And that's how this game affects everybody.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's right.
Finally.
This-
Did
This
his
game's-
son start at quarterback that game?
Yeah,
and
sure,
won,
sure
Murph?
did.
Yeah.
But he played.
Bobby Jr.?
He interchanged
Yeah.
with Pete Gales
Mm-hmm.
that
Yeah,
game.
that's
There
right,
was
okay.
some. They put them back and forth, and there was big celebration downtown. And now bringing up
Yeah.
security. Let's just talk
That's
about
right.
security after the Iowa State game. All right. After that game, I went downtown to celebrate with
Yeah.
everybody. I had to work and clean up after the game
In
at the
77?
stadium in '77.
All right.
Yeah.
Went downtown, went to the airliner, went to Joe's, and everybody was just happy. Nobody was fighting or anything like that. And I don't know if it was closing time or near it, but I left a little early. I lived out in the country, and I had to be back Sunday morning at 7 a.m. to go clean up the stadium. You had to push the brooms and clean
Yeah.
up the mess on Sunday morning. If you didn't, you didn't get to work the next game.
Sure.
So you never missed Sunday morning. Some nights I slept at the parking lot just to make sure I
You
didn't
did.
miss Sunday morning. But all of a sudden, right there on Clinton Street in front of the airliner, in between Iowa Avenue and Washington, cop cars pull up. And I thought, oh no. They stopped at one intersection and they stopped at the other intersection with Clinton. They got out, opened up their trunks, and pulled out sawhorses, barricades, and they blocked off Clinton Street. And everybody came out of the bars and celebrated in the streets. They were
No
climbing.
kid.
They were climbing the light poles
That
and the
made sense.
telephone poles.
Made
Dude,
sense.
everybody was just so happy. There was no hassle. They weren't about to say, you can't have that beer out there on the street. You're under, of course, back then
Yeah.
it was 18 to drink everything, but don't even get me going on that subject.
That's true.
It was just joy.
So yeah, I had a store right next to the field house, and I belong to the
Oh, I
downtown
remember that.
I remember that.
downtown association.
Sure.
And there was 16 of us got together and said, let them have fun. We'll be down here Sunday morning and we'll clean up our block. And that's
Yeah.
what we did. We went around. But nobody was getting hassled. They were having a good time. Those days are gone.
They
boys.
started a bonfire in the middle of the street that
Well, I
night.
don't know.
Yeah.
What was the
Street.
enrollment in those days?
Oh, I'd say,
It was
28.
30. Oh, no, it was 30.
no, I don't think
Yes,
so.
it was.
28.
My senior year, 79, we set an all-time record at that time, 30,000. I know, I remember.
So we haven't gained since?
It's not much, if any. It's gone down, then it's gone back up.
The student population,
Yeah.
it's about 31,000.
It's about
Yeah.
31 now. But
You know, Ames is just short of that.
yeah.
Mhm.
My age
Yes,
group
sure.
was the peak of the baby boom. So we were the largest in my
That's pretty
senior
good.
class.
That's what you did.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah.
You wanted to because it brought people downtown.
Oh, yeah.
It's comparing the two eras, 77 and 2010.
Yeah.
You know, that week leading up to the Iowa State game, the first one in 77, I was living in the dorm.
Yeah.
And every night that week leading up to the game, I lived in Reno, and the sister dorm was across the street, Slater. Every night, late at night, somebody in both dorms would pull the fire alarm. And everybody emptied out in the street, and it was just a big party. And it was all about the Iowa. They did it because of the Iowa State game. I was new to Iowa. I was new to Iowa City, and I instantly caught that fever.
You just loved it.
I loved it. And
Yeah.
I can still remember watching a guy at the bonfire in the middle of Clinton Street he had a sweater. And he takes the sweater off and throws it in the fire. And practical me, I thought, what a moron. Why would this fool burn his good sweater? It didn't matter. He was just
Having
caught
a
up
good
in the
time.
moment and happy.
But you know, tailgating, football's going to go on forever. Now let's make something up. Let's don't throw kids in jail at 108 a crack and
Oh,
stuff.
And
You know,
especially at that time, 11 o'clock games, it has to be out of there by 2 o'clock. or
yeah.
No, you don't have to be out by 2. You have to stop. You see, you have to stop drinking an hour after the game, and you have to be out of there 2 hours after the game is over.
But you
Won't be
can't
long
get
to
out.
be-
And that's the other thing, yeah.
You can't get out because the
By
traffic.
God, you better not have a beer while you're waiting for traffic to clear
Won't
up.
be long. They'll be letting us out in increments after the third quarter to control their traffic and their drinking. You know.
Well,
Oh, that's another thing I have to. Then, as we left, guess where the policemen were? They were out directing traffic.
No way.
Directing traffic.
What a novel idea!
6 or
they thought
7
of it
policemen on every corner
Yeah.
directing traffic.
Oh man! You know,
Yeah.
after that first
Well,
home
that's the
game,
4 of us. Let's run for city council.
Yeah.
no,
No way!
no.
Why not, Bob?
No way.
What are you doing?
I'm not doing anything.
I'm not
He's
doing anything.
enjoying
What are
his
you doing?
retirement.
I might be
We're just
blind,
like
but I'm
the
not
city council.
stupid.
We're not doing anything.
They'd stake us out.
Yeah, that ain't gonna
Well,
happen.
there were some high school games last week of note. City High West High played for the Battle of
I'm
the
glad
Boot.
this is sports opinion. You
Yeah,
can
we
say
got it.
It's not counselor's opinion.
We're wrong half the time, but we don't care.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, and I hear about it when we're wrong. Let me tell you, or when we can't come up with a name or a
Yeah.
fact or a date. We do hear about it in church, at the football games,
Oh, yeah.
you name it, and that's okay. I encourage people to, update us. Just make sure you call Bud after midnight.
I did get one the last time.
Did you?
Yeah.
Really?
Well, I was told to call you. I said, how'd you get my number?
That's right.
Really?
Right.
Oh man, who was it?
good.
Did they say who it
No,
was?
they wouldn't say it, and guess what they wanted? Just to see if I was up. To take calls.
I say that because
That's
I'm
good.
kidding.
I'm
Bud gets
not.
up
Well, you
early
never
every
gave it
morning
I
to
think
go
it's
to
a good
mass.
idea.
You didn't say anything
All right.
about
Let's go.
numbers.
That's true. City High West High played for the Battle of the Boot Friday night. It was Friday night.
Yes, I was wrong.
So was I. I thought it was Thursday too. I'd seen that. But anyway, it was Friday, and they just thoroughly dominated West High. It really wasn't a battle. West High tacked on a few scores at the end of the
And
game.
they got a wonderful tailback. See,
Yeah.
Ron Thompson
Jeez.
broke the single game rushing record for City High. Rob Tyne
Remember that name?
Sure, sure do.
He had the record. I don't remember what it was, but I'm pretty sure I was at that game he did it.
Tim Dwight had it
Before
Right.
that.
before
Just
him.
a year
and
before
then,
that, I think.
Yeah.
Yep.
Okay.
The new rushing record is 362 yards.
Amazing.
362 yards in a high school football game. Those are 8-minute quarters.
Unbelievable.
I mean, that's okay. So let's
12
just do the
minutes.
math.
No, 12
12
minutes
minute
quarters.
12-minute quarter? Oh,
Yeah.
basket. Oh,
Yeah.
Okay, 12-minute quarters. So that's 48 total minutes.
Jeez.
I don't know what the math is, but that's a lot of yards per minute, and it's just unreal. And
Well-
this kid, he's the real deal.
You got two good football teams there. West High is going to win their good
Yes,
share
they
of games
are.
this year as well. I mean,
Yes, they are.
They have a good quarterback.
yeah.
Rogers.
They have a good running back. They have a good receiver. They've
They
got
got a
some
good
big,
team.
tough
It's
guys
gonna
on the
be hard
line.
to beat them.
Yep. West High is going to host Cedar Rapids Prairie this week, and I think they're going to smoke Prairie.
Yep. Should.
There's some payback coming. City High has got a real tough test. They have to go to Cedar Rapids Xavier. And if you remember, Xavier's a team that gave them fits in the playoffs. Believe Xavier's the last team to beat City High in the regular
Yeah, I think
season.
I believe you're right. Yeah.
Xavier is always tough, and that's going to be a heck of a battle
And
at
tough,
Xavier.
yeah, tough up there.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah,
But
that-
I don't know. I don't think anybody, including Cedar Falls, why they got them number one. I don't.
Well, this
City-
could end up to be City High's toughest game right here.
Yeah, right here.
Yeah,
'Cause
but
City doesn't play
City High-
Cedar Falls.
With this running guy, I don't think anyone's going to stop him.
I don't think so.
Xavier
either.
plays pretty good defense, guys.
Yep.
So,
We'll see. It's going to be a humdinger, and I sure hope that game's
I'll
on
take City High.
one of the TVs.
Oh, yeah.
I'll take City High too.
Oh,
Me
yeah.
too.
I don't think anybody here is betting against
Yeah.
City High ever.
Okay.
No, but Xavier's going to be tough, and they're going to be probably the toughest test for City High the rest of this regular season. We'll see. Regina just dominated Wilton. I'm going to sneeze. Excuse me. This was a game where Wilton came out a little chippy. They were undermanned, and yet they had some very good players. They just didn't have enough of them, and
let's call them cow chippy then, right?
they had a little extracurricular after some whistles, and it ended at the first half with one of their best players who'd already had a personal foul earlier in the game, starting trouble with one of the Regina kids, who retaliated, and both kids got kicked out. Now both kids have to sit out the next game. By the way, I think you know this, but that's the same ref who threw out your nephew last year.
Yeah, Braden. Yeah.
So I don't know, but
The crew from Washington.
yeah, if there was ever a game to sit out, it's going to be
Well,
the
they
one
know
at
about
Tipton.
football.
Tipton's 0-3, right?
Yeah, and they're terrible.
Yeah.
So Regina goes to Tipton on Friday night. Tipton doesn't have a win, and they probably aren't going to get a win this year.
This could be a 50-point game.
It will be, and it'll be quick.
Marv's funny about that, though, this year. He gets that 35, and the starters come out.
Yeah,
And that's
he
good.
did it right away.
Yeah, he did
That's
it right
good.
there. And that's,
Let those other kids play. That's
Kurt's
good.
like that, too.
Yeah.
Well, Kurt never blows anybody out.
Well, he could if he leaves the start.
Every game we have is a close game. I mean,
Look at that Missouri game last year. He could have put another score on them at the end of the game, and he
If he
didn't.
just listened to the people sitting in the stands, he'd be all right.
yeah, that's right. That's right.
Well, you do that.
We'd have him confused.
Do that for us, Kurt.
One last
That's
final
a good-
piece of news. I think we just got 1 minute left. By the time you watch this show, by the time you're hearing me say these words, I'm going to predict that Adam Woodbury, the 7'1" center from Sioux City East High School, is going to announce that he is a Hawkeye next
Please.
year.
Good.
He's making the
Please.
announcement tonight at 7:30.
Now, why is
7 o'clock, it says.
7.
yeah,
Yeah.
why is Williams coming up?
He was already here to see Marcus Page in Linmar, and then on to
He's
see
gonna be
Woodbury.
there.
He's already been there.
He's staying there for the announcement tonight.
Who?
Williams,
Williams.
Oh no, he's gone.
North Carolina coach.
No, he's gone.
Well, we'll see.
Yeah, he's gone.
I hope
We
he
hope
is.
so.
So this kid is a game changer.
This
He's a
would be
program changer. 7'1". We've already got a 6'10" kid in that class.
When he comes, he'll be 7'3".
Let's hope he's still growing. Fellas, we're out of time. It was a great show. We got to wrap it up. On behalf of Bob Boyd and Bud Supple and Earl Murphy, I'm Dirk Keller, thanking you for watching the show. And remember, we're on every Wednesday night at 7 o'clock, every Sunday night at 6 o'clock. And remember this, either you're a Hawk or you're not. Beat Pitt. Thanks for watching.
Amen.